mean anything because they are going to try to respond. And, that's against the Clemson team that, look, is they beat NC State. They've shown signs of being a team that can win these types of games, but this is still a team that you should beat no problem. This is a team that's not on the same talent level as you. You've got a much better coach than they do because Brad Brownell should not be coaching there. How he still has his job is just utterly shocking to just about everybody in the college basketball world. But this feels like one that with the streak on the line and Clemson, coming in feeling confident, you're going to have to come out and play the hardest game that you've played all year. You've got to come out with that sense that, look, if we don't win this game, we might as well just pack it in and the season's over. It's going to be interesting to see if they come out with that mindset because it looked like they did, like I said, in the first half against Pittsburgh. You have to be able to do it for a whole game, and I'm with you. I know that there were a lot of people that questioned what Roy said. I mean, I think he's just being honest. And for people that say, well, he recruited this team, you know what that basically says? He's basically telling people this recruiting class overall was not a good class. Just talking about everybody in the 2019 class. But frankly, they just weren't really that good. And it's starting to seem like he's really right. I mean, look around college basketball. Who are the freshmen that are superstars? That's pretty much what I think he was saying. I get that maybe it's a knock on the guys that are currently on the roster, really just trying to motivate them. But at the same time, I think that's more what his point was. The talent level in college basketball right now just really isn't there. So
it's not, and a lot of that's because of the NBA.
Right.
Overseas is becoming a bigger deal. But I mean, that's a whole different topic for
right.
Something else. But I mean, we got to pick a winner, and I'm gonna pick Carolina, and this is the last time I'm gonna do it. If they lose this game, I will go on record and pick them to lose every game the remainder of the season.
Oh no.
This is your last chance. This is your last gap. You win, you get to 9-7, you get a win in ACC play, you get a week off before you go play Pittsburgh, so you get a chance to improve in practice. You get a chance to get a little bit more healthy as Cole Anthony's return will be a little bit closer by that point. And your season is still worth playing for. I think they'll win, no other than the fact that because it's North Carolina and it's in Chapel Hill. This game's in Clemson. I would pick the Tigers in probably convincing fashion. I think Carolina they grind it out. It's going to be a game probably played in the 60s, which is pretty much where every game's been played all year long that Carolina's won and been competitive in. And I don't even know who's going to step up. I'll say Garrison Brooks because he's the only guy that I can tell cares. He cares about winning. He cares about playing with 100% effort for most of the game. And I think he'll lead them. And we'll still come on this podcast when we recap this game, still just mad because, quite frankly, this team is an embarrassment to the game of basketball. They're making me fall out of love with this game because of just how bad they are at playing it.
All right, so there's your morning dose of depression for you guys on this podcast. So I'll give you a little bit of a more positive outlook because I'm going to go with Carolina too. I just think, look, the streak is something that just has. I mean, there's been so many chances to break it. That team couldn't do it during the 8-20 season. That team couldn't do it to Carolina during 2010, the season Carolina went to the NIT. It just feels like that's one of those things that's going to stick around for a while, but mainly because I think Carolina has to realize at this point, I think these guys on the floor will realize it too, that if you don't win this game, again, it's going to be about as difficult as you can make it on yourself to make the NCAA tournament. So you have got to find a way to win this game, and this is your last game at home of this homestand, this 4-game homestand that we talked about being so key. If you leave it 1-3, you're pretty much you're going in talking about the season's in huge trouble, possibly over. You leave it 2-2, Granted, still not in a great spot, but you're going to have a chance. So I think they'll realize that. I think this is finally the time that they're going to play with some effort. And, I think it'll be a consistent enough effort level. It's just, again, this team, I've talked about it all year. They are not a good shooting team. They won't be able to do it again. But I think they're going to be able to get the ball inside against a Clemson team that is not built to stop teams inside. And I think Carolina pulls out the victory. It's not going to be, like you said, not going to be pretty. It never usually is. But, I'll go with Carolina. And I'm not going to take that same oath that you will. But if they lose this game, it's going to be really tough to predict them to win a game. There might be one or two depending on how, if they're able to get on a win streak or when Cole returns. But most of the games, it's going to be tough to pick them.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. There's your look back at the Pittsburgh loss, a look ahead to the Clemson game. And that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Roy's Voice podcast. But before I let you go, I'm going to talk to you about the HeelToughBlog.com. A lot of great content on the website right now. We're encouraging all you guys to start going to the site and becoming subscribers. That way, you're getting all your stuff on the website. We're kind of getting restricted on our Facebook platform. We're sharing.
Like or follow the Facebook page.
Or like or follow the Facebook page and get everything that we're putting up there. Basketball-wise, we've got Pittsburgh stuff up there. Clemson preview is going to be up there. Football-wise, Anthony's got, let's see, you got storylines from this past week in football. At some point, you're going to put the final grades up from the 2019 football season up there. I've got an article about Mac Brown that'll be up on the website pretty soon. So even though football season is in its off season, we're still working and writing about Carolina football in 2020. And before I let you go, also got to talk to you about the podcast. We'll make sure you subscribe to the podcast. If you find it, we're on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Spotify, any podcast platform you will find the Roy's Voice podcast. Give us a like, give us a review. Most importantly, hit that subscribe button. That way, your podcast finds it in your podcast feed. You get all your episodes right there, ready to go whenever we put a new one out. That's going to do it for this edition of the Roy's Voice podcast. Well, thank you guys for listening, and as always, go Tar Heels.